Welcome to the part 2 box review. If you missed the first one, go back and check it out. Part 3 will be released today or tomorrow. In this video, I'm gonna make sure you understand these deck types to ensure that you have an immediate advantage over your opponents on day one, and you can make decisions on what you wanna buy right away before waiting for my own deck list.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Red Eye support review. We have 2 super rares and an ultra rare that supports Red Eyes. Starting off with Black Metal Dragon. Black Metal Dragon says, you could target a Red Eyes monster you control, equip this monster from your hand or field to it. It gains 600. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you could add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. So if we ignore its first effect, we could just set this monster, we could econ take with it, or have it be destroyed by battle or card effects, and then search for any Red Eyes card from our deck to our hand. That includes a Red Eyes monster. Right now, with Red Eyes Fusion and Red Eyes Insight, that is 6 Red Eyes Fusions. Turn 1, you have a 79% chance to open up with an Insight or a Red Eyes Fusion. Turn 2, you have an 87% chance to open up with either. So the point there is, do we need more consistency with opening up with Fusion? Do we need to bump those numbers up by having another card that could potentially search it? If you do decide to use it, you will have 9 Red Eyes Fusions potentially if you were to play 3. You can use Buster Whelp, a level 1 light with the light and dark skill to search it. Now with the Black Metal Dragon, you summon a Red Eye / Dragon off of your Red Eyes Fusion. You can equip it for immediate targeting negate, but if they have something like Canadia, they could chain it to Black Metal's effect of attempting to equip. So you have 2 scenarios. You open Red Eyes Fusion to make Red Eyes / 3400 plus 200 from a warrior in the grave, an extra negate, or you didn't open Fusion, you set Black Metal, or you try to trigger its effect to search for a Red Eyes Fusion. Also with Red Eyes Retro Dragon, you could simply summon that, equip your Black Metal Dragon, and it becomes 2300 attack. Now another great thing is Black Metal Dragon can search a Retro Dragon while Insight cannot. Now if you forgot about what Red Eyes Retro does, Red Eyes Retro is a hand trap, where if your Red Eyes monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, including your Red Eyes / Dragon, you could special summon your Red Eyes Retro from your hand to then special summon the monster that was destroyed by battle or card effect. In the current Red Eyes builds, you just have to hope to draw it, where now with Black Metal, you could search it. Now we are on to the super rare Red Eyes Baby Dragon, level 3, 1200 attack. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you could special summon a Red Eyes monster from your deck. If you do equip this card onto it, it gains 300 attack. Now if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you could add 1 level 1 dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So now we do have a way to search Black Metal Dragon and a normal way to play Red Eyes if you were to play Red Eyes Baby Dragon with it. It could also search for the Blackstone of Legend, which we'll talk about. It could also search for Buster Whelp, which is used in Buster Bladers. Now this is only when sent to the graveyard as an equip. So if the monster this is equipped to is destroyed, you do not get the effect. The equip card must fall off. Ideally, I think I'd like to special summon a Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning from my deck with this card. They swing in, I special summon my Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning, then next turn I normal summon Lightning, and I now have its effect to destroy my opponent's monsters with its effect. It could also summon Red Eyes Toon Dragon, where before we were forced to use Insight to dump the Red Eyes Toon Dragon, then summon it with the Red Eyes Spirit. A good thing about this card is that you can aggressively swing in to trigger its effect. You don't have to wait for them to swing in. And another great thing is you can special summon from the grave with Red Eyes Spirit if needed. Now we're on to Blackstone of Legend. You could tribute this card to special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes from your deck. If this card is in your graveyard, you could target a Red Eyes and then return Blackstone back to your hand and return the Red Eyes back into the deck. You could only use one of these effects and only once that turn. That means you cannot activate its effects in the grave to add itself back to the hand, returning a Red Eyes back in the deck, then normal summon and use its tribute effect. Once again, I probably want to summon a Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning with this. Just like Black Metal, it works with the light and dark skill for Buster Blade or Whelp. This is probably best with Red Eyes Toons. As I said, Insight plus Spirit is the only viable way to summon Red Eyes Toons and the current way to play it, and now you got this. It's time to talk about Metaphys, hopefully not Metaphys. Metaphys gain effects when special summoned by a Metaphys monster. Also, they gain effects during the next standby after being banished. So 2 great cards to trigger all of their effects would be Gold Sarcophagus, which is not limited to 1, just in the TCG it is. You could banish a card from your deck, add it during the second standby phase, which will not happen because when banishing any of the Metaphys cards, which are monsters, they will trigger their effect during the next standby phase. Also, we're going to use a brand new card called a Lupine. On normal summon, you could banish a Metaphys monster from your hand and from the deck with the same type, and they are all the same type. These two cards alone trigger everything very consistently. And if you want to be funny, you could use a card like Inferno Tempest. When you take 3,000 or more battle damage from one attack, you could activate this card by removing all monsters in each player's deck, which will trigger all of your Metaphys cards. You could do that with Lava Golem. Give them Lava Golem, they swing, Inferno Tempest, banish everything. Now, before I get into the Metaphys monsters, we're going to look at the trap. Metaphys Dimension, the ultra rare card of this deck type. It is a continuous card. Its first effect, you basically have to flip it early versus inherent special summoning, or you could chain it to a Neos Fusion / Red Eyes Fusion. Now, why would you want to do that? It says if your opponent special summons a monster, you could target one of your banished Metaphys monsters and special summon it. When you special summon your Metaphys monster, you must banish it during the end phase of the next turn, which will then trigger its second effect and the Metaphys card's effect during the next standby phase. So hopefully this is not all over your head. Don't worry, I'll have a quick demonstration. So its main effect, its second effect says, if a Metaphys card is banished from the owner's possession, you could target one card your opponent controls and banish it. Can only use each effect of Metaphys Dimension once per turn. So besides its own effect triggering itself, if you banish a Metaphys from your field, hand, deck, or grave, you could banish a card on the field from your opponent. It works with Gold Sark, it works with your Aloof, it works with anything that banishes, and then you get to banish a card from your opponent. So let's now talk about the Metaphys monsters. There are three main monsters. Daedalus is the super rare, which we will start with first. All three of these monsters, as I said earlier, will gain an effect if special summoned by a Metaphys monster. What is the Metaphys monster that would special summon all of these three? That is Metaphys Tyrant Dragon. So if Metaphys Tyrant Dragon is banished, during the next standby phase, you could special summon any of these Metaphys monsters from your hand onto the field to trigger their effect. So Daedalus's effect when special summoned by Tyrant Dragon is you could banish all other face-up special summon monsters on the field. So you want to use Gold Sark, banish your Tyrant. During your opponent's standby phase, you'll special summon a Daedalus with Tyrant effect because it was banished. But what if we use Gold Sark to banish our Daedalus instead? If Daedalus is banished during the next standby phase, you could banish any Metaphys card from your deck. So you could use Gold Sark to banish Daedalus, and Daedalus will banish your Tyrant. Now, all their effects that activate when banished during the next standby phase happen only when you shuffle them back into the deck, so they all recycle. If Tyrant Dragon is summoned off of Tyrant Dragon, it is unaffected by trap effects. It could also, after attacking a monster, attack again in a row. Now, besides Tyrant Dragon special summoning a monster during the standby phase after it was banished, the monster that is special summoned gets banished during the end phase of the next turn. So follow me with this combo. You could Gold Sark into Tyrant, then Tyrant during next standby phase will special summon Dkayed from your hand, which will banish all other special summon monsters on the field. Then Dkayed is banished next turn, which will banish Tyrant from your deck on the end of your turn. Then again special summon from the hand with Tyrant effect during your opponent's standby phase. Now the third main monster is Metaphys Nephthys. If this is special summoned by the effect of Tyrant, it could banish set/spell traps, even your own. It banishes all of them. If Nephthys is banished, during the next standby phase, it will activate to search for any Metaphys card. It could search for the trap, it could search for Daedalus to be in your hand to special summon off your Tyrant. So your Nephthys essentially enables your full combo of the Tyrant Dragon, Daedalus, and your Dimension. Now to make the deck even more consistent, we have Asima Metaphys. Asima Metaphys, a continuous spell. Once per turn, you could banish a Metaphys card to draw a card. You're banishing it from your hand, and we all know that triggers the Metaphys cards. Now, also it says during your turn, if a Metaphys card is banished, your opponent permanently loses 500 attack and defense. If you have multiple Asima Metaphys on the field, it will all be reducing their attack 500, 500, 500. That's a 1500 reduction with 3 of these on the field. Now, if you happen to banish a Metaphys card on your opponent's turn, its second effect is it will change the battle position of all monsters on the field besides Metaphys monsters. And then we have the wacky Metaphys Metaphys Executor. I don't like this card. Too wacky, too hard to summon. The final Metaphys card I actually want to cover is Metaphys Factor. Metaphys Factor is a field spell. It allows you to normal summon any of your Metaphys monsters from your hand onto the field. So that means when you normal summon them, you're basically just using them for their attack and defense. They will gain no effect while on the field. But during the next end phase, which will be your opponent's turn, you do banish your Metaphys monster, so it needs to survive their turn and then banish during their end phase, which will then trigger their effect during your standby phase. Now, its second effect is quite interesting. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your Metaphys monster effect activations. That means when your Tyrant special summons a Dkayed or a Metaphys, and your Metaphys or Dkayed is about to be banishing a whole lot of cards, they can't chain their back row, they can't chain their monster effects, they can't chain econ take, they cannot chain anything. Very exciting deck type. Time to review the Fleurs. Fleurs are led by the boss monster Chevalier De Fleur. This is basically a Xian that can negate spell and traps on your turn. 2700 attack, level 8, requires a Fleur Synchron plus one or more non-tuners. Only during your turn you can negate spell and traps from your opponent. Now, if we want to use Fleur Synchron to summon this card, a combo could be with Fleur Synchron in your graveyard being a level 2 tuner. You could normal summon Junk Synchron to special summon it, and then you could special summon a Psychic Tracker from your hand, make a level 6 with Synchron and your Tracker, and then with the level 6 you could Synchro Shokan with your Fleur Synchron to make your Chevalier De Fleur. I'm not too excited to summon this card with that combo. Instead, I want to summon it with Quick Draw Synchron. Quick Draw Synchron can count as any Synchron tuner. So this is great for my Synchron deck to add a Chevalier De Fleur. So instead of summoning a Junk Destroyer, I have the option to summon a Chevalier De Fleur with my Quick Draw Synchron. Any level 3 with Quick Draw Synchron, and that's all you need. I am really excited to add this to my Synchron deck, especially because Synchrons are known for special summoning Synchros multiple times per turn. I could start with a Chevalier De Fleur with my Quick Draw plus a level 3, and then with Sanguine plus Gillosaurus plus Wielder plus Tracker as a follow-up, I could now negate whatever that back row card is with my Chevalier, Econ, Trap, it don't matter, and then you can go for lethal. Now, the Fleurs have two different boss monsters. The second one is Sorcery De Fleur. When Sorcery 2900 attack is normal or special summon, you could select one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon that monster to your side of the field. It cannot attack directly and is destroyed during the end phase. So how do we get this monster on the field? We definitely don't want to tribute summon for it. We want to use Necro De Fleur. Necro De Fleur, if this card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you could special summon one Sorcery De Fleur from your deck. An example of using this card can be with Fragrant Storm. Target a plant type monster in the field, destroy that target if you do draw a card, and then if it's a plant type monster that you have drawn, you could reveal it and draw one more card. So this could be a great combo with Necro and Sorcery De Fleur. And because it only special summons from the deck, you might want to use cards like Switcheroo or Mash Tribute, any skill to shuffle this card back into the deck. We have Super Solar Nutrient. Activate by tributing a level 2 or lower plant, special summon your Necro from the deck. We could also use Mystic Piper. Mystic Piper, you tribute this card, draw a card, reveal it. If it's a level 1, draw one more card. Sanguine is also a good use of searching your Necro Fleur. Now let's talk about Guard Dragons. Guard Dragons, we already talked about Guard Dragon, World Legacy, Mardark, but I did not know that Guard Dragon itself was a deck type. So a quick refresher, this card makes it so your opponent loses 500 attack and defense for each dragon you control, and it's very easily summoned with the effect of Powerful Decision, sending a normal from your deck to the grave and then adding a normal from your deck to your hand. So you could summon it immediately by banishing a normal from the grave and a normal from your hand. Now, if Flamevale Guard happens to be one of the normal monsters you're playing in this deck with Painful Decision, you could normal summon Flamevale Guard after special summoning your World Legacy Mardark to summon a Trident Dragon. Trident Dragon is a brand new level 10 synchro. It requires a dragon type tuner plus one or more non-tuner dragon type monsters. On summon, you could destroy up to 2 other cards you control. For each card destroyed, this card can perform additional attacks. That means this could deal up to 9,000 damage attack 3 times. Let's talk about Dragard as part of the Guard Dragon deck type. Dragard says when this card is normal summon, you could target 1 normal monster with 1,000 or less attack from your graveyard, special summon it. Also, once per turn, you could tribute 1 dragon type monster, then target 1 face-up monster you control until the end phase. Its effect becomes level 8, and if it does, it gains 800 attack. So let's kind of forget about that second effect and focus on the first one. The first effect is pretty much a junk synchron. You normal summon Dragard, you could special summon your Flame Veil Guard from the grave, and you're using Painful Decision with this deck with your Mar Dark, and that is a level 5 synchro. Or you could use your level 2 Guard Dragon Justicia. This is a 2100 defense level 2 tuner. When special summon with Dragard, that's a level 6 synchro. Now with all this normal monster synergy, besides using Painful Decision, we could use cards of consonance. Discard a Dragon Tuner with 1,000 or less attack, draw 2 cards. We could also use Unexpected Die to special summon a Dragon Tuner normal monster from our deck onto the field. So the deck is pretty much building itself, as you could see right here. Let's talk about another Guard Dragon, Garmedes, level 3, 600 attack. If a normal monster is sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, so that means not battle, you could special summon this card from your hand. So by activating your Painful Decision, you could special summon your Garmedes. Also on Synchro Summon, you could special summon this from your hand. Now its other effect is, if this is in your graveyard, you could send 1 dragon monster from your hand to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. So this is going to be great for spamming synchro summons with your tuners, your Mardark, your Dragard, special summon, recycle, draw cards. It is all coming together. Also, with it being level 3, you might want to use a card like Wielder or Tracker. You probably don't have room for that though. Those are pretty much just the Guard Dragon cards I want to talk about. Prominessus does not seem too good. That is it for this review. Make sure you stick around for the final review.